Just to remind everybody out there, this is how you get onto this show. You dial 609-663-0153. Again, 609-663-0153.
This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Hi, and welcome to Pyramid One World Radio. Let me tell you about the hosts of the upcoming show, A View of Humanity. Jamie Clark was just voted and
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I can't believe that. You know, where there's all kinds of things in there going on with servers. This thing with the Ukraine and everything else. I mean, the one server that we're on right now, we're losing actually. I already replaced it, but we're now working to get one into the other one because let me see. This one comes off Germany, and Germany has been, I don't know, bought or something like that by the Ukraine for some kind of a military thing for their server farm that they have. Where there's like a couple of hundred, servers and everything else now for communication. Well, it seems that they're bombing so many places over in the Ukraine that they have to go for an outside source to do their communication and everything else in their telephones and all kinds of stuff. So
crazy.
That's what I'm doing. And these things have been up and down for all three locations: Australia, Texas, me. I mean, it's been crazy. But on the other hand, I mean, I don't mind. I've moved over and everything else, and that there's too many lives that are at stake, and I'm not going to be the guy to stand in the middle of it and say, "Oh no, don't do that." I mean, come on. I mean, give me a break. I'm serious. I mean, people are crazy. If like you being a psychic and you being a tarot expert, it's one of these things where people need leaders. You guys are leaders. You know what I mean? You can literally guide a person in an area or in a direction that it's an option. They can go there or they cannot. I mean, it's just like, God had said, you're right or you're not right. He didn't say wrong. He said not right. So, I mean, it's like that's the thing that we're doing right now with the whole world. I mean, the whole world is going, it's on the edge of the chair. It's ready to fall on the ground. And I just hope we're not under the chair.
Yeah.
Well, and the most important thing is when you step into a role of leadership, I think everyone on the planet needs to step into a role of like their internal leadership, their internal compass. And sometimes in a perspective that has either been through it before you or has gone through the spiritual awakening experiences, they can quote unquote guide you because they've been through it from their own perspective. But ideally, everyone steps into their own spiritual authority. Everyone receives that from their own source within who they are, and they discover that, and then they can be that. And then no matter what happens in the world, they have their internal compass. They have their own sense of leadership, their own sense of spiritual authority. And not to negate, I'm not negating God by any expression at all, because I love God. I love the creator, but we are all a part of that. And the more that we can really connect to that divine source and become spiritual leaders individually, every person on this planet can lead themselves spiritually if they look inward, if they go to the right places. And sometimes they do need the confirmation, the guidance, the encouragement along the way from, a psychic medium or tarot reader. But really, everyone has a spiritual compass that they can tune into that allows them to feel comfortable leading their life and going forward. I think it's really important that we all step into that divine sovereignty, that we all have this within who we are. We can all be guides. We can all be leaders in our lives.
There's another show, and it can be coming on here. It's called Talk Now, and it's one of those things there where everybody can levitate into the Skype and have different subjects and everything else to be discussed and everything. Get a bunch of opinions, get a bunch of areas. I mean, it's dangerous, yes, but I mean, I do it publicly, so why not here? Well, you can't shoot me through the monitor.
Well, and giving people a chance to listen and hear this information without necessarily having to experience it, they at least get acclimated to it to go, okay, you know what, I either like that or no thanks. And you know what, that's a lot of the way I was thinking. So thank you for doing what you're doing. It's not easy, but you are giving people a reference. That's awesome.
It's crazy. Somebody today that was saying to me, and that, as a matter of fact, we have been talking, it's funny, I should say this. I was talking about you. And I don't know how this thing went rerouted somehow, but we were talking about things that way people feel, the way themselves, because I was talking about souls. Your soul is one thing and your body is something else. Your body, and like I always say, when you're all done at the end of your term on your term on Earth, whatever. I mean, you can throw what's out here in the garbage. It doesn't matter. It's gone. It's finished. The soul is the whole part of the person. It is nothing compared to what people believe. People believe that you are you, when you go, and they, no, you do not go. I keep saying, I shook one guy. I said, you schmuck, listen to me. you crazy guy. You don't go anywhere. I said, what was right here stays right here. But what is in here, and I believe it, I got some finger like a teacher in second grade, bam. And I was like, when you go, this is what goes, not this. And he was like, well, I still don't get it. I said, schmuck, look. You're like $6.50. Well, wait a minute. We have inflation. All right, so you're about $8.50 in chemicals in his body, and that's it. You know what I mean? If you were to fast dry this thing or anything else, it's great for flowers. I mean, it's maybe your lawn, or whatever.
And I'm right there with you. Not only do I, just from my awareness, not only do I realize that we are not our bodies. Of course, we're in this vehicle, so it's something to get around. But it's also, we're not our brains. The brain, to me, is only the computer of integration on this planet. Because when you graduate, we're in a bunch of brains walking around. We're consciousness. We're pure energy state.
Yep.
And, that's something that I've always been fascinated with and great in a way that, like we have the physical senses here, when you graduate, you still have those experiences. As I always share for myself that the fact of how we perceive dying or death is you die in this dimension and then you go to the other side of this dimension. And as I always say, life's relative, because aren't we right now living on the other side of where we come from before here? Does it mean we must have died, or could it be a shift in consciousness and vibrations of energy?
Well, here's one for you. Like we always say, and we have said for a long time, the other side. Okay. The other side is here. It's all around you. You're in it.
Yep.
No, I tell everybody, did you ever see the picture Matrix?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like,
There's a
it's
lot of validity to that.
of course, every single one of the dimensions as they have come through, the world or the universe. And the universe, come on, they're just finding out now it's billions of years old. And they keep going nuts about these UFOs and everything else that are coming around. I mean, come on. If something is a billion years old, don't you think somebody got it by now?
Well, and that's the connection is there are a lot of brothers and sisters on other worlds that are much older than we are as humans. And that technology, they have a lot of technology, a lot more than we do, as literally they can create planetary ships, like spaceships that travel that are as big as freaking planets, man. It's incredible. And the cool thing is, my mom and I wrote children's books and I write comic books and all that good stuff. But in that way, we do use some of that information
Exactly.
about the dimensions, about the seventh parallel, many other realities and universes that we come from. I always say the fact that, right, scientifically, they've validated that humans are basically energy. And with that definition being energy, in quantum physics, they found that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But then, as I always say, but wait a minute, that means in a very scientific, quantifiable, practical way that we are eternal and we have always been. And yet this universe has only been here 14.3 billion years. We may not be from this universe. I'll guarantee you we're not.
Well, all right, for you and you, Maggie. The thing is with a psychic, when you are performing or your brain is performing the task of finding information, because that's actually what it is. I mean, no matter how you want to put
It's
it
a
down,
computer.
it's
Yep.
a computer. When you're doing that through the ether. You're doing it through the area that's around you, through the energy that's around you, through the energy that someone has. For instance, like I tell people all the time, call on the telephone. When you call on the telephone is connected to this board that's connected directly to you, your line. Not mine, yours. I'm just a bypass. I got a Y in between us. So those people, whatever they're saying on their telephone, their energy is coming through that line directly to you. Not that it's not in the ether, it's there. But now you're getting a double whammy when it's here.
Yeah.
And it's a clearer look. And people can take more truth in what you're saying. The same thing as your cards, Maggie. Your cards are connected to the same place.
It's energy. Yes.
Same place. It's all energy. Energy is something that we all have. It's all around us. All we have to do is tap into it. And too many people do not tap into it. So they call you a tarot reader and you a psychic and me a total idiot. But no matter how they want to do it, it's still the same ether. You're breathing the
Yes.
same energy I am. So how
Yep.
can you call me an idiot when if I'm an idiot in the same spot you're in, I guess you're my brother.
Well, and see, that brings up an interesting point because to me, ether is more solid than matter. And any experience that you have is registered in the ethers. That's why there'll be sometimes a person's like, it was weird. I was just looking and it was like this scene was in front of me and these people didn't even know I was there, but I could see them like another reality. Yes, because they were. And it's now tuning into that connection interdimensionally. Because I always say for me, I like to share how I read for people psychic mediumship wise, because we're pulling this information out of thin air, and we are. Just like you were sharing to me, the fact that it is all interconnected. And how I read for people is through natural laws that exist in this universe. And as I always say, any natural law is never, ever selective of itself as to who the user is of that natural law, like the soil in the ground. That soil of itself doesn't question anything about you in any way. What kind of person? Happy, sad, murderer, healer, green, purple, orange. And it doesn't question what seed you're planting. If you're planting that seed, you must want it to grow. So I share the fact that how I read for people is this seemingly thin, empty air of nothingness is pure God soil. Every thought you have is a seed you're planting into the cosmic soil. Your attention to those thoughts, to those seeds, are what waters them to grow. And through a natural law I call a vibrational match, or cause and effect, it's how we've come to see things as karma. But not only that, those circumstances that are starting to validate this science and spirituality is now becoming spiritual physics. And that kind of a connection, that what we think about and our attention to those thoughts, I always share the fact is that's what constitutes that personal magnetism when you first meet somebody. It's either like, man, I just love your energy, or I don't want to get to know you. They don't have to say a word, funny but true. They don't have to say a word, yet you feel their energy. Some have a nice, good, clean energy. Others are like, how's it possible to have a dirty, greasy energy? Yeah, but they do. It's not judgment. It's understanding where that person is at. Because to me, I need to do the best I can to understand where they're at so that I can communicate and talk with them, not just to them.
You know, there was a woman the other day, and that there was in where I was, and that there was just a whole bunch of people just talking to each other, and I more or less gather people.
Cool.
It's kind of cool, it's weird but true. This woman has like the worst look you could ever think of in a million years. This is a lady that runs around in a white Mercedes with gold instead of chrome on the car.
Right.
One of those kind. I mean, I live where the house is. I'm right across the street from. There's not one house over there that's less than $2 million.
Nice.
Not one, and they start at $2 million.
Beautiful.
So you can imagine. I've been over there. I mean, a friend of mine. It's a golf course too, and the golf club and everything else. But a friend of mine had taken me over there and took me for a little ride, and that he's one of the security people there. Cool. And he goes through the whole thing. There's these homes that go. I mean, it's like the thing that Trump has down in Florida. Okay, they're that big. This is right across the street from my house. I mean, it's like I can wave at them. Hi, how you doing?
Nice.
But anyway, this woman that was there, she probably came from there, because it was only like 2 minutes away. The thing was that she had this bad look on her face, like somebody that like was mad at the world. And you get those people all the time. I mean, there's people that just bleh. For some reason, I was standing closest to her. There was a happiness in her that she did not show on the outside. I felt a nice lady. And in the meantime, you got this woman that nobody wanted to talk to. So it was like, So of course, you know what I did. The old tap on the shoulder, and that like, hey, how come you're not smiling today? Was there something in the pineapple? She goes, I didn't have pineapple. I said, well, you don't have a smile either. So I went back and forth.
That was good.
But went back and forth until she was laughing, actually. She walked out the door of that place smiling.
Yes.
I was like, yes. I didn't do anything. I didn't read anybody. I didn't psychologically change her in any way whatsoever. All I did was take the veil away.
Right. And without judgment.
No,
okay.
I mean, it was there already. People that called. We have one person on the phone right now. We got to get to that one. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to you. But on the other hand, and what I was saying with this thing with people, every single person is just like that person I talk to. We listen to too many things. Our ears are open to too many areas. We listen to too much news and everything.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you know, and this is something that really got me, Diane here was saying to me, she says, Bob, she says, I know you're a little crazy, but this is really, this is way, 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 way over you. Because I actually swore out some kid that I met, and 19, 20, something like that. These kids don't listen to music anymore. They just don't. They play on their cell phones, or they play games, or they do some crazy things but they're not really into music. Because I asked the guys, like, how about some of these new bands that are out? Because I have no idea. I mean, you give me Led Zeppelin or something like that, I'm or Van Halen, I'm there. Or U2, I'm there. But the stuff that's out in that today, oh no. Like you hear the stuff that I'm playing. Like this is a music studio actually, and that and we just have a recording thing here. But I like to play them all, sample everything, and play the whole thing back. And that's some of the stuff that you hear, and that when I'm doing some of these things, because The reason why I did it in the first place was YouTube don't like if you play anybody's music.
Right.
They will flag you, copyright this, copyright that. So I wrote them. I said, okay, no copyright, eat this. I said, I'll copy my stuff. I did it. I didn't copyright me.
Excellent.
So, I mean, it's crazy stuff, but it's true. Too many people today should take one step back in life and say, what do I want to be? Or what do I want to look like? Or what or whom do I want to be? And how much do I love myself? If you can do those 4 things, oh man, this whole world would be better overnight.
Yeah. And I think that a big part of that is, for me, I always say, I've now learned that the more love, energy, attention, and compassion I give myself is no longer narcissism, but self-realization. For I cannot give what I do not have. And most of us run on empty, and then we get very selective about here's only a little bit because we're fearing that there's only so much. And to me, it's unlimited. There's enough for everyone and so much more. But kind of like that, when all we can do is just give them a different perspective, not better or worse. I don't know, nothing for nobody. But sometimes when somebody can hear that different perspective and get that different vantage point of seeing things, it's like, okay, I heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, that's the first time I connect with it. And you're like me, you're very playful. So it's nice when you can lighten it up and get them as they walk away from your presence, because you're not doing anything but being you. But I love when they empower themselves and click with it, because they literally lighten up and they get a pep in their step as they're walking out the door. I'm like, yes.
The one guy asked me what I did, and I told him, I said, did you ever, at like 40, something like light a firecracker or one of those cherry bombs or something like that? He goes, yeah. And I said, didn't you throw it? He goes, yeah. I said, that's what I just did. I lit the fuse, and let it go. Now, it'll either ignite or not. But my bets are pretty much on the ignite part, because that person's going to think about what I said for at least a week.
Yeah. And when you can get them to be contemplative, when they can think about that, not necessarily understanding in the beginning, but maybe dive into that so much that they start to get their own perspective of what you're sharing. Not that it's the only way, but they're now starting to take their way of understanding that vibes with them. That's the brilliance. I love that.
I just got to watch out. She may come back looking for a pineapple.
She'd slap you upside the head with it. It's funny, but when you're doing that and like, hey, you don't have a smile either, that's funny. That's hilarious. Because more than likely, she may not have had the best day or the afternoon prior to talking with you. And then it's like, okay, you're a real person and you're talking with me. I actually count. I'm a person, not just a number. Okay. And that's when they start to connect with themselves. Because to me, nobody needs to be fixed. Nobody needs to be saved. Just showing that power within, become more self-realized, to begin to live life more than survive it.
There is something I'm going to be talking about it on coming shows in the fall, probably in September, starting them.
Cool.
The thing is, there is a hair's width between money and life. A hair.
Give me an example.
The people net who run around the net and are richer people, and I deal with them every day, and the ones that have more money than God and his brother and his sister, but they just have this, like, always on something on their mind, always got to do something else, always got it more. It's like inbred greed. But they don't call it greed, and they don't know they got it, which is even the worst part of the whole thing. Then you get the ones that are not, the higher middle class, those people net. They just take the money and they spend the money and everything else in that, and they just go through life, boom. But there's all those bumps. Then you get the guy next to him. The guy down, just one down from them, the one that has what they have, just has what they have, thanks God for what they have, and thanks whomever for what they have, and they are the nicest people in the whole world. So light it isn't funny. They will whatever you want. What do you want? You want it now? You want it later? I'll go get it. Stay here. It's one of those kind of people. So as you come down that thing, you have to teach the people on the top that little piece in between the money and the life, and that can be taken out, and the life and the money can be one. You
I like
don't
that.
you don't need either to have a good life. Neither.
Right. It's
Just
all in the way you see it.
in yourself and others.
Yep.
That's it. You know what I mean? They just, I mean, they're just how would you say it? It's intricate. I mean, it's it's very, very complicated because, like, as I said, I've talked to some of these people that before they come in, they'll leave, or they'll, text me or something. And then you won't hear from like 2 or 3 weeks. They go on that, they're up and then they're down. Then they're up, then they're down. Instead of just going right across the middle. Zoop. You know what I mean? There's always good, no matter what happens in your life, no matter how bad things can get in your life. And I'm sure both of you guys have had bad.
Oh, yeah.
And you know yourself in that I'm missing somebody in my family because of the bad. And it's
Sure.
on my back all the time. The one thing that I have to remember is I have the memory. The memory is there. So he never left.
Right.
And this is something that's my huge down. But I don't take it away from myself or anybody that I'm around.
Right.
So let's see who's on the phone.
That's
Hold on.
beautiful.
Nobody. They hung up.
Yeah.
Or got knocked off. Whatever that happens to.
Well, see, and I think that you're bringing up an interesting point is a lot of people have that inner awareness, but they're not so willing to share it.
Right.
They're not willing to open up. And then they have that inner journey, that inner space astronaut that they sometimes will discover more of who they are, but they're fearful to talk about it. Remember, because you're going to be one of them there crazies. And it's like, man, these abilities are so natural. They're supernatural. Everyone's a psychic medium. Everyone can do anything we're doing. Do they choose to? And what level do they want to take it to? And kind of bringing up an interesting point, like you were saying, hey, they've all got it. Yeah, but now we start to see that we control our abilities, our psychic intuitive abilities. Our abilities do not control us.
Right.
Because you can see people, yeah, they'll shut it down. Hey, no, I don't want to hear that and see it. That blah, blah, blah. And they're allowed to. That's why, to me, everything is spiritual and life's relative. We're extraterrestrials to everyone else. We're living on the other side of wherever we come from before here. It's very relative. But finding our own value point of what connects us, whether it's the people, experiences, abundance, what you create, well, whatever it is, they're needing the validation to be beneficial the best that they can. Because if they're not making a difference in other people's lives, sometimes they feel like they're not making a difference at all. When in first they had to make a difference for themselves. Then you can share that with others. Because I always say, I cannot give what I do not have. And it's that connection to go, I will always help others. And hi, I'm Jamie. I'm no longer a hypocrite. I make sure that I stay connected to myself too, because I will always help others. But for, most of my life, I can always help others but myself. And I always kept helping others but myself. And after many years, I was like, I'm a freaking hypocrite. If I'm helping others, I'd better be willing to help myself. Otherwise, what I'm showing, the old school, do as I say, not as I do. Nah, frick that. If I'm going to talk about it, I'd better be living it. And to me, I see the equality and feel the equality of everyone. Doesn't matter if you're in the street with nothing and alone, or on top of the hill with everything and everyone, or everywhere in between. I will treat you with compassion and love. And unless you show me differently, we're on that frequency. I'm not stupid.
My mother, wherever she is probably still saying the same thing. She used to teach me all the time. She used to say, treat others like you want others to treat you. All the time.
I will say that just to my awareness and my own experience, that statement is very, very real. Okay, because I was I always seemed to be sitting there. I wasn't meditating, nothing. And in an instant, I became everybody that I ever interacted with. I felt every single energy exchange. And then when I came back to me, it was, how'd you treat yourself? I'm like, oh my God, that stuff's real. It is us. It is just a reflection of who we are as that eternal being. And when we get that, and can we start placing the value on life and ourselves? Because a lot of us will apply the value to everything else but ourselves. And then you feel like you're devalued and you're not enough. Man, we're enough in every way. And that ability, if we can do the best that we can and give ourselves permission to frickin' do the best that we can, that's all I can do. Otherwise, we'll tend to get frustrated and down on ourselves. And it's understandable because we do that. But if you keep doing that kind of circumstance and stuff, you're going to bring in other people that are going to match that. They'll start slapping the crap out of you. You'll be like, what the? Why'd you do that? They're like, you're doing it to yourself. Isn't that what you wanted? You're like, that's what I didn't want. Because most of us have the right intent, but we approach what we don't want. We approach the problem more so than the solution.
Let me just get through this overnet. I mean, there's a lot of people, a lot of people listening. If
Awesome.
you'd like a reading, just call this number 609-663-0153. If for some reason you did not hear me, or for some reason you just want to get in touch with me, or anything you want to do, just dial into or get the email for bobcharlesshow@live.com. I can see it. I'm looking at it. So I can see that mail all the time. If you want to write, if you have a question, maybe you don't want to come on the telephone. You say, no, it's going to, no. Well, if that's the case, email me. If you email me, I can ask the question for you, and you can be talked to face with Jamie. You can also
Excellent.
go on every single, let me see, there's 9, 10, I think, pages in Facebook. Every single one of them has a link on it. You can get on this show live. You can see your face if you get that link off Facebook. So go get it.
Excellent.
Now,
Excellent.
there was something on Maggie's mind.
Yeah, I was listening to, the golden rule.
Looking at her eyes, and her eyes tell the story. She doesn't know it.
She's looking at you, boy.
I'm serious. Her eyes tell a story. When she's got a question,
Absolutely.
there's this look in the eye that I'm attracted to it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we talk about the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. My caveat on the end of that is only do it first. Like, be the example so other people can see how it's done. But I also feel like what a lot of people are craving is community. And when people are waking up spiritually and they feel like no one understands what they're going through, they have no one to talk to. Maybe their family doesn't agree with the shift of their energy or their new perspectives because it challenges some perspectives maybe that, they were raised with. I feel like this is also something that needs to be discussed more, is how to build a spiritual community. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm waking up and I feel so alone. I'm looking for who I can connect with. Maybe it's a tribe of people. Maybe it's a community. Maybe it's a church, but something that helps people have an opportunity to really express a new version of themselves, because the people in our lives that have always been in our lives usually don't want to see a new version. Let's be honest. They'd rather us just follow the tried and true and the straight and the narrow. And then when we do have a new version of ourselves that is shifting perspectives and opening up, spiritually, psychically, whatever that looks like, building a community is so important. And I find that we have to use the golden rule when we are craving those communities. Like, how do we treat people the way we want to be treated when we want to build community? Well, we have to reach out. We have to reach out to people who we feel has like minds and say, hey, would you like to have a cup of coffee? Would you like to have lunch? Would you like to talk on the phone or jump on Zoom or whatever it looks like? And I feel like this is one of the things that, as people are waking up, as people are growing and expanding, that community is there. It is there 100%, whether you look on Facebook. There's Facebook groups you can build communities around. There's all kinds of free things that you can, listen to, tune into, talk to. Like, people can go onto the, your station and have a conversation, and talk to you. They could call in right now and say, hey, I'm just calling in to build community. But I feel like this is something that we're not talking about. The leaders or the teachers in the spiritual community, they offer classes all the time. We offer events. We put out podcasts. We put out radio shows. We do all the things to help resource people. But where's their tried and true? Where are the people who can they call in the middle of the day when they're not sure if they're getting the right message, but they want a different perspective? And I feel like that is something that has been such a valuable aspect of my spiritual growth, is I always had a group of people that I could tune into. And I've developed friendships for years, 20, 30 years of friendships where I have a slew of people I could call. If one person's busy, I can call another person or another person or another person. My list keeps going, and they'll all get me because I had the courage to express a different perspective and to express the new version of myself as I grow and change. So it's a convoluted thing, but I think one, you have to have the courage to express yourself, the courage to speak up and speak out, the courage to ask for what you want from people that might be able to offer that to you. And don't be shy about it, because I'm hearing this a lot in my coaching is I don't have any support. I don't have anyone to talk to, yet
Yep.
I'm opening up.
Yep.
And I want people to reach out. I want people to walk into a metaphysical bookstore if it's metaphysical. I want people to walk into Unity Church if they're prone to going to church or whatever that looks like, and open up their mouths and start talking, because you don't know who you're going to connect with until you express it, until you take that leap of faith and say, okay, I'm going to just trust that the universe has my back, and I'm going to open up and talk about something weird and spiritual, or something on my mind, or some aspect that I'm growing within myself. And I feel like that's when we trust the universe. Remember, like energy attracts like energy. We don't know that we could be everywhere, and someone will connect with a perspective that you might have. And we don't know if we don't express it. We don't know if we don't have the courage to make a new friend. So I just want everyone listening to think about that, because we don't have to walk this path alone. It is a solo journey to find yourself and to be yourself. You have to go deep within who you are, but you can be guided, and you can have people to share that process with and share the experiences with. And if you keep expressing and keep communicating and be willing to share and not hide yourself, but to share yourself, you would be amazed how many people will be like, oh my gosh. And it's so funny. I've had a friend for over 25 years, 28 years. And we were talking a couple weeks ago, and she goes, I didn't know you had that many experiences with aliens. We never talked about that. I'm like, isn't this weird? We've never talked about this. She's had experiences. I've had experiences. In 28 years, we never brought it up because we just related on different levels. But lo and behold, if at any time in the last 28 years, I could have said something and she'd be like, I can relate. I had an experience too. And we just didn't know because we both just kept it close to our hearts because it was so abstract at that time. And so I just want people to have the courage to be able to really start expressing the authenticity of what you're growing into, and that's going to help draw people to you. And the more courage you have, the more guts you have to look weird or to possibly be judged by others. Who cares? You're going to weed them out right and left. Oh, you didn't get me. Cool. On to the next person. Don't waste your time. Just be you. Have fun.
It's funny though. What you just talked about is the reason that talk now is gonna come across.
Right.
That's the reason, because too many people don't have anyone to talk to. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to just get on the Skype one of these times and just, dial into a show and have a whole bunch of people that know you because you've been there before. You know what I mean? This is gonna be very, very interesting, and you're gonna get leaders out of something like this. You are. You may even have people who may even go on and have their own shows.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And have the courage to do it because they learn how to speak up and speak out.
Right. Exactly.
Without too much fear.
Unless I can see it now. I mean, I can feel it now that somebody is going to be told, right off, you don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah, in no uncertain terms, And these videos are gonna be on. They're not gonna be on YouTube because they'll never go over on YouTube, but they'll be on other places net where people can say what they want to say right from their mind and their heart. Whatever comes out of their mouth, that's what people are going to hear. If people want to know more, this is the way to do it. And you, Maggie, you got it. I mean, that's it.
Well, and both Jamie and I were shy growing up. We weren't able to communicate or express ourselves because we didn't have that strength within and the desire within to do so when we were younger. We both had learning curves, jobs, positions where we had to talk to people, and very uncomfortable at first. When you take yourself out of your comfort zone, I'm not saying that this is easy because it wasn't easy for me, but I was determined to learn how to express myself. I made it a daily commitment. And I remember feeling so insecure, so weird when I started talking, going, oh my God, I said that all wrong. Oh my God, that's not how I really want to express myself. Oh my God, oh my gosh. Right. And for a while, I was very self-critical, and that's okay. It's absolutely okay. That's a learning process, because then you refine and define how it is that you want to express yourself that tunes you into your authenticity. So this doesn't go without your learning and growth curves and edges that humanity loves to offer us. This is the beauty of being human. We get to be uncomfortable sometimes, but if we have a desire to connect, then we should have a desire to express. Do unto others as you would have done unto you, only do it first. If you want someone spiritual connecting with you, like you want to connect with them, connect first. And it doesn't mean it's going to come out right and it's going to feel effortless at first. It didn't for me. It didn't for Jamie. I don't know if it does for anyone who's shy and maybe insecure about expressing different aspects and new aspects that they're learning about themselves. But when you have that courage to do so, then you realize, you know what, this is going to be okay, because you will attract the people that get you. You do it often enough, you will draw those people to you that will receive you and also be able to share with you. And then you have a two-way street of relationship. And it is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't go without its growing pains, and it's okay.
I think my mother must have raised me really weird. I mean, that I got to be crazy. I really do. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I think I told you guys the stories one time. I remember somebody had written me about it. I was the first guy in New Jersey that actually played and sang with a guitar at high mass in the Catholic Church.
Okay, I was going to go high
first.
Mass. Okay,
first in New Jersey. They had me in the newspapers because half of the people that were in the church walked out.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't an organ. So there was no place for a guitar.
And bringing different tools to create the same entertainment, in this case, the beautiful music, is right. They'll start to open up to go, well, you haven't heard that one before, but hey, you know what? That's kind of purdy. And I've got my old thing for the organ thing, but I'm starting to realize it doesn't matter what instrument, it's about the love and creativeness that you're sharing. Oh, and not only that, but you're actually kind of entertaining. Because for me, it doesn't have to be serious. What if it can be entertaining and informative? It doesn't always have to be like this, unless you choose to, which is fine if that works. But I think that a lot of people are starting to wake up to other tools and modalities, because look at how that shined. You had enough guts to go, well, hey, I just do this and it's different than the other things, but I'm enjoying. And even though the other people walked out, you got the write-ups in the newspaper. You got write-ups that you were unique.
Oh, I didn't even know that one of the guys that walked out was the editor of the newspaper.
That's hilarious.
That's why I got on the news. It wasn't, from what I understood. This was later because my mother got the information from somebody else, but it wasn't him that wanted to walk out. He wanted to stay. His wife left. So, I mean, it was like, that's the way the cookie crumbles, but I was like
smart man.
15 years old. I was up in the very, very, up by the ceiling in the back where the pews were, where they usually put the choirs and things. And it was me and the organ player. And some of the songs I did and some of the songs she did.
That's beautiful.
And I was all by myself, standing dead center in the middle of this thing about, I would say, a good story or so over. people in the church and everything, and I'm singing. I have a microphone. I'm singing in the church.
Beautiful.
I didn't care that I was singing in a church because I was singing something I knew my whole life. I was brought up with religion. I mean, I was the only kid. Look, when our real band, the rock and roll band, 39 years of this, okay? Whenever my bass player went to temple on Saturday, I went. Whenever I went to church on Sunday, he came with me.
Cool.
What is the difference? We didn't know any difference. God is God. I don't care what you are. I don't care whether you're a Muslim, China, Buddha. I don't care. The same person is the same deity that every single one of us understand to be God. Every single one of them. Yet everybody goes, oh, no, that's not my God. That's your God. That's this. What's the matter with people? Do I have to go around the whole world and smack everybody?
Oh, yes. I think so.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I mean, I feel like once in a while that I just want to like knock somebody out when I hear it on TV, like a guy saying, no, he said that this, and I'm like, what?
And once in a while, just throw out the word goddess just to really shake it up.
Oh, today, forget about it. The way things are going now, you don't know. I mean, you got to take two looks.
Yeah, we might have to start calling it them.
Look, if they do anything else to pronouns, I mean, let's face it, it's not mom anymore. It's birthing person.
I actually don't mind it if they call it them. We could move back into a polytheistic society instead of monotheistic society. That worked fine for thousands of years. You know, why not?
I never heard that before, but you're right on the nail. You got it. You nailed that one. Yep. It's so crazy. And like, as I said, like psychics and everything. I mean, people like, I mean, I get emails from psychics and things. I mean, you should see the things I get. Oh my God.
Cool.
I mean, I look at this. Let me tell you something. You know the fakes and you know the real. And you know the real ones. I can, like I said, I'm not a psychic, but I can feel, you know what I mean? And it's weird because I can actually, you can get that like, one of these kind of feels, and you go,
And that is psychic. You're using your abilities. You feel the vibrations of that energy.
Mine, but they don't call it, they call it crazy, not psychic.
Until you can get more solid with scientific studies, things like that are more practical. That's why I love doing all these scientific studies, is now putting a lot more validity to all these esoteric and, oh, that's lovely, airy-fairy stuff to go, yeah, well, now we're starting to validate a number of things that are quantifiably systematized and categorized. Now, how you seeing it? Because that's why, I always share the fact to go, well, look, all these beautiful religions are allowed to be. Everything's allowed to be because it's all one. There is no only one way, except for me, which I always say there's only one way to God. You know what that way is? Your way, whatever works for you, because we're never separated. It's all one.
I mean, I see your stuff in it all the time in Facebook and wherever you want to put it. I mean, I come up with this stuff all the time. You like roses? Me too.
Yeah. Yep.
Every single time I see that, I think of my mother and roses.
Beautiful.
I used to do that too. And the other thing that she liked was Chanel 7.5, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Chanel number 5.
Yeah, is that the thing? I mean, it was like I used to work as a paper boy when I was like 11, 12, 13 in that ballpark somewhere to get her 1 ounce for Christmas. 1 ounce. Do you know what 1 ounce of real perfume was? Mm-hmm. I mean, forget about it. Like back then, it was like $30.
That was a lot back then.
Now we're talking then is let me see, 1965, 66 in that ball game,
right?
Somewhere, and I'm like, all these people that think, of all the things that they can do for people to make people feel better. There's a certain amount of how would you call it? You have to. There's a lot of giving, and that you have to do. There's a lot of sacrifice you make to do things. If you do sacrifice to a way, then you can turn around and you can thank that person later. I mean, it's the two of them go together in some weird way, but it does. The sacrifice part and the give back part and the thank you part. All of them are the same. It's what we're made of. It's what our bodies are made of. And the world, for some reason, this is what bothers me more than anything, because I can see it because I grew up with it. I don't see the world going in the same direction.
What do you mean?
For years, we were always going, the way we are. Cards, psychic. We also have the other readers and that to do things. They're all coming out with the same conclusions. The record's not playing backwards. It's not playing forwards anymore.
It's good when you can read both forward and backward.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's not happening. That's not
Not for
happening.
a lot of people. Yeah, I agree.
So many people that believe things and don't believe in themselves, and they should believe in themselves.
And it's not easy, but to find that in whatever way that we can find the empowerment of self-realization, go, we're no better, we're no worse. Just do you. And you'll stand out by doing you, and the passion, whatever it is that you have passion for, that is what speaks to people. They will feel that connection. Just like the psychic aspect, you can feel when they're legit or you're just throwing cheesy generalities out there. And to me, everyone is a psychic medium, just most don't use it. They don't choose to. I always say we've all had that gut feeling of that mindscape picture that ends up happening. That's psychic. You had that information before it happened. And my thing is I was very, very fortunate to grow up in a home where everyone used their abilities. Psychic abilities. It was natural. My mom was an amazing psychic medium. As I share, that she would say stuff, and a lot of times 2 hours later, that stuff was happening. In the beginning, I'm like, are you making that stuff happen? What's going on? And she shared with me how to read energy and all that kind of stuff. But it became great because I am so fortunate, and I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of those people grow up in a very religious home. And it's like, whatever works for you. However, in those religious homes, that's not a good thing. Yeah, it's bad. You go in someplace if you use them their abilities. It's like, well, didn't Jesus use his abilities? Don't the angels? Don't we all? Well, there you go. But oh, it's only good for one person, but not anyone else. Oh, okay. Or do we realize, oh, it's just the value place of where we're placing that energy, what we value, because life is relative. What might be good for one isn't good for the other, and vice versa. Finding what works for you without negating everyone, but integrating yourself and finding yourself within life so that you find that life within you and bring it to the conscious awareness. Let it just flow. And when you can share with people, because I don't claim to know anything, it's just, I always remain humble. I'm just doing the best I can. But, hey, maybe here's a different perspective, not better or worse, but different. And that's why I always claim the fact that everyone can do this. Is just, do you choose to? Because it's nothing to fear and everything to empower your life in so many different ways. Because in being able to kind of open up to life, like Mag was saying, I literally, when I was younger in grade school, I would take a 0. I would take a failure rather than have to speak in front of people. Literally, I was freaked out. And now I do that all the time. But it took me for most of my life that, okay, I needed to be prepared and ready for that. So in my own life experience, even though I didn't realize it, I worked in hospitality for 17 years. Marriott, Camelback Inn, Four Seasons, good places. But it also became the stomping grounds for me to learn how to interact with people on all different levels. From the dishwashers, from the supervisors, from the managers to, oh yeah, movie stars, presidents, astronauts. I got to talk to all of these people one-on-one, just like this, naturally, with respect and appreciation, vice versa, twofold, because they appreciated me and they took the time. They took the time to talk, and it gave me a really great validation. It doesn't matter how much money you have or any of that. It's who are you as that person.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And the whole thing is funny. I mean, my mother's mother passed away when one of my aunts was born. So she was raised by her grandmother and father, who was my grandmother's brother, the father. And the grandmother, the great grandmother, whatever, and that she was the psychic. She was the one that saw my mother's mother in the house, walk through the house. She would come to her in dreams, tell her, how the girls were and everything. My mother would see her mother, tuck her in the hole, not an energy, not a cloud, in the hole, tuck her in. and things. My mother was super. She really, really was, and hit it
It
very
is.
well.
Well, got to blend in, or you start looking like one of them.
Yeah.
Remember,
So, my sister, but she goes, Bob, she says, you got it. I don't. So that's my sister.
but look, in the family, they're accepting you. Oh, you're the different one. Okay, great. Hey, keep going. Great. At least I know you're my brother in this case. It's great. Same mother, brother from a same mother is they can allow you in their own way to be yourself and a lot of times learn from you and how you're living your life. Because more than likely they weren't too freaked out because if your mom had the ability and your intuitiveness was shining nicely, they weren't fearing, they're just acknowledging it. And that's a great dynamic is when they can connect with you and not be fearful, but empowered.
You got time for one?
Yeah, let's do one and then we got to go. Yeah, sounds good.
Who's on area code 402? Mary?
Yes.
Hi, Mary. How you doing?
Okay.
All
Just been
right.
listening here.
Well, you're
Cool.
on now live with Jamie and Maggie.
So what's up, Mary? How you doing?
Oh, okay. This is weird for me. I've never done this kind of thing.
Congratulations for having the guts to do it, man. That's the point. This ability is so natural. It's supernatural. Everyone can do it. It is the practicality, truly. Is there any question, anything that we can possibly target to be of service?
I wanted to get a reading by a medium or a psychic, but I'm in the middle of Nebraska. And, I just don't even know, it's hard to pick a medium. I don't want to pick somebody out of the, out of the
Yes,
internet
ma'am.
and say, oh, well, I'll go to this one.
Do you have any friends, anyone who has seen a psychic medium? Because for me, I'm very honored and thankful that a lot of my opportunity to be of service is word of mouth, people who have seen me. Because for me, it's like go to somebody who you trust that if they say they're good, then they're checking out. But kind of like this, even though you're in an area where you may not have a lot of access to it, we're talking right now and we're not in the same state. There's Zoom. There's many other ways that I'm very honored that can do readings. I don't have to physically, kind of like we're doing now, I don't have to physically see you, but as soon as we're talking, I've got your soul print of consciousness, your energy vibe. And that kind is usually we'll be able to get, accuracy and information to go, it's either really good guest work or, maybe there's something to it. Because this ability everyone can do.
Of anybody who's seen one. So, I've been, listening to a lot of different people like Suzanne Giesman and
Cool.
Just don't know anybody person to person or how to do it,
Yes, ma'am. And are you wanting to just get the services or are you wanting to learn to do this for yourself or both?
I mean, sure, if it was in my destiny to do it, that'd be great. But I'm not even, I'm just very beginning here.
That's great. But look, if you're just beginning, you still already have a few years of wisdom of experience as an adult in this case. Look at how brave you are to even open up to this after apparently maybe a lifetime of not dealing or delving into this. That's the point. So to me, you've got a lot more power than you might realize. And in doing that, if you can't find somebody, maybe Google, the ratings for people so that you can at least get a connection on average. Because if a person has a lot of, good or whatever the case is, it's not just one person. That's usually a number of people who are getting a chance to put the way that they either had a great session or challenging or whatever it could be. But you'll be able to find information about that. So, for myself, if we can ever be a service, we're honored. Otherwise, you don't need us. Keep going. Learn to read that energy and the self-empowerment, getting that gut feeling, and then, getting an outcome. Because I always say I could feel all I want, but if I have no reference to what I'm feeling, what? I'm very practical about this. To me, everything is spiritual. Life is relative.
Okay. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch base, at least get started talking to
Excellent.
somebody.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. And the other thing, Mary, I think is look at people's content that they put out. Like Jamie and I have a podcast. You could listen to a couple episodes about mediumship and be like, ooh, do I feel connected to what they're saying or not? You know, we love Suzanne Giesman. We think she's amazing. And she has a podcast out as well. And then, you know, some of the people are taking, you know, client appointments, and some won't be just because of where they are in life. But I definitely recommend going what your gut feels and who you feel really connected to, the way that they speak, the choice of words that they use, how they describe the other side sometimes can kind of give you a clue in as to, oh, I feel really connected to this person. That feels right to me. I do think that's a great place to start. You know, just kind of checking out like, okay, am I really drawn to this person? Am I drawn to that person? Because there are a lot of great mediums out there, and a lot of them do have radio shows and podcasts or on YouTube. I love social media to see like, what do they put on their social media content? Do I resonate with it? Is it all about love? Is it about God? Is it about something I resonate with? Or is it like kind of different, you know? And then once you find someone you really feel connected with, then you can kind of like, you know, look on their website, see what they have. I do recommend following like attracts like type of vibration when choosing a psychic or a medium.
You recommend what? I didn't catch that.
I do recommend having a like attracts like type of connection, like what you like and about someone's content, then you might have a vibrational match with people.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, we've got a podcast called Psychic Evolution, where we give a lot of tools and techniques just from our awareness. We don't know nothing for nobody, but if we can give you tools and techniques that your only investment is the time that you take to listen to it, you don't have to pay for it, nothing. We want to do the best we can to maybe give you a different perspective, not better or worse, but different. And sometimes we can give a different aspect of that. It's like, okay, you know what? I'll check that out. Because it's that kind of connection that you are the magic. Life's not happening to us, it's happening because of us. And so just like you're doing your soul searching, you're starting to open up again in this way to go, I don't really know where to go, but I am open to see what can happen. Perfect. It just took the first action, which is for you to even be open to go in this direction. Now you'll start to tune in, and just like you're doing, you called us. You didn't wait. You called us. We're now literally talking. That's how easy it can line up. It's not just a recording at the moment. This is live as we perceive it, that we're having a conversation and we're talking with each other, not just to each other. Big difference to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I looked up your podcast today. I've been listening to Susan Giesman and reading voraciously, you know.
Good. Hey, if you're...
Ireland. I can't think of his first name. Ireland.
Mark Ireland and his dad, Richard Ireland. Yes.
Yeah, I've been reading his book, and that's where I found your name, looked you up, found your podcast. I mean, you know,
awesome.
It's just like you read one thing, and then you get to another place and another person and things. But anyway.
Yes, it will guide you along the way. You're doing it. That's the beauty. And you're the one who chose to do this. Notice we're all in our own life doing our thing. But all you had to do is just open up, reach out, and you're making your connections. And the very thing that we're like, hey, you know, we got a podcast. You're like, oh, I've already checked it out. I already know that. So the great thing is you already have information. But in addition, we're at least able to offer different perspectives, not better or worse, but different. So if you can get Suzanne and you know, others that you would like to listen to, vibe with it. See if it vibes with you. Just like Mag is saying, it'll be a similar vibrational match. You like what they're saying? Give it a try. And you'll feel that energy.
And, you know, Mark Ireland, he actually has a whole thing where he does like blind testing with some mediums so that he has mediums to recommend for people.
Yes.
And he really puts them through the ringer. It's not just, you just don't like do one reading and then he's like, oh, that was a good reading. Yeah, I could recommend you. He puts you through like a testing process and a number of testing. So I would say anyone that he would recommend has been vetted by him, and he's an amazing guy too. So
great family.
That's another resource for you as well.
Look on his website for that list of
I believe so. I don't remember what the name of his website is.
But you could also go to Helping Parents Heal, which is another organization that he and Elizabeth Bosson have created in honor in reference to helping those. Because, like I do, sometimes it can be a lonely aspect. Going, is anyone else experiencing this? Because holy crap, I don't have anyone I can talk with.
And they have a whole list of mediums that they recommend as well. And usually they're pretty credible as far as I've known.
Yep. We would not be sharing that information unless there were validity to it from our perspective.
Correct.
That's why I'm like, frickin' test this. No guesswork. Do the best you can and be as evidential as possible with personalities, characteristics, right? Then it moves beyond, hey, good guesswork to, there's billions of people with many different personalities, but that's exactly how they used to be. And I'm like, that's exactly how they still are, because I'm just mimicking them, right? And I don't know them. And they're like, yeah, they died whatever. I'm like, yeah, well, there you go. So I'm very practical about it, because to me, this is something that can be empowering, that can be life-changing, and everyone has access to it. I always say that we control our abilities. Our abilities do not control us. That's why a lot of people go through, I don't get anything. Really? Good. If you wanted to, you could initiate and start getting that connection to that channel and then be on it. Because once you're on that channel, you learn to see, oh, that channel plays the music in this case. Oh, country's country, rock and roll is rock and roll, classic is classic. All of these channels are always existing and always playing. It's what do you want to tune into, because then it will play in your reality. Or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. See, like I know one medium here in town. I live in a town of only like 50,000 people. Cool. And she sometimes is holding readings at a local store, that has different spiritual things, and I've been in there before, and I don't know why, every time I just didn't sign up for it. And one time I even saw her standing at the cash register, and I thought, I'm not drawn to go do this. I thought I should feel some kind of I don't know. Maybe it was just fear.
No, you're right. No, that's the point. And you didn't feel it, so you didn't do it. Brilliant. That's freaking awesome. You'll know what feels right. And if it does feel right, that gut feeling, check it out. Talk with the person, just like you're doing. Do your homework. You'll find that connection. But that's also why, for me as a psychic medium, and again, everyone can do it, but I've done is a lot of scientific studies. I want to put the practicality to the spiritual stuff, to go, man, it's all spiritual and life's relative. I always say, as those who know me go, man, life is relative because we are extraterrestrials to everyone else. Ooh, we're living on the other side of where we come from before here, eternal beings of consciousness. So it's those kinds that you're already tuning in, and you're seeing, all right, there's this bookstore, whatever the location is, that does presentation on that spiritual. Is that what they call it? Spiritual stuff? Yeah, everything's there. But it's giving you a chance to at least open up and look. And if it feels good, maybe you'll go check it out. If not, don't. But at least these opportunities are being lined up so that you're even connecting. That's why I'm saying it takes a lot of guts to get into this stuff if you haven't been into it. And you're like, I've never done this before. And I'm like I said, congratulations. Not only that, just to me, I always get a fact to go, because a lot of people from all of these beautiful religions, that's why I'm like, whatever works for you, that's the brilliance of it. But they'll be like, Jamie, I've never, ever been to somebody who does what you do in my church. Don't look too kindly on this. And my first response, like I said, is congratulations for having the guts to sit here. Second, let's just get a basic meaning of mediumship. To me, a basic meaning is to consciously connect with a being, a spirit, an entity outside of a physical body. And they'd be like, yeah. Like, okay, so with that very definition, if you talk to God, Jesus, the angels, you are doing mediumship. And I'm willing to bet with that particular style of mediumship, you're hoping and praying for life-changing miracles and instant communication. And they're like, oh. And again, I don't know anything for anyone, but my perspective, I'm a real big pusher in the way that everyone can do this. That's just very important to me. I don't want to claim. I'm choosing a gift that everyone has. It's the few select that choose to work with it. It's not the other way around, to me. Cool. So trust that gut and keep going. You can do this. You'll find the right one.
Just got to find a connection somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. You're already starting to get connected, or we wouldn't be talking. Neener.
Yeah, Mary, if you want to, you got like a paper and pencil someplace?
Hold on a second. with a wage someone. Okay.
All right, I'm going to give you an address to write to,
Okay.
and I will send you all kinds of links that'll take you right back to these two. Plus, you'll also have a copy of this show in case you want to go back and you want to check on some of the things that you said or that they said, so you can find out some more information. I'm going to send you that too. Now, I'm going to give you
okay.
I'm going to give you an address. I give very few, so you're going to be one of the very few. All right, Bob Charles, right? Bob Charles, CHARLES, at USA.com.
Okay.
Real short, real easy, very, very easy to remember. Write me and just say you spoke to Jamie and Maggie on my show on Pyramid One.
Okay.
Yeah, you talk to them, they're crazies.
And
And I will send you the copies of these things and that so you have them for yourself.
Thank you, Bob.
And I'm pretty sure Mark Ireland's website is on the show notes of the podcast he was on in season 1 or 2 of Psychic Evolution. So if you can't find it easily on the internet, you should be able to find it at psychicevolution.net. Just go to the episode page and put in Mark Ireland, and it should pop up in the show notes to that episode.
And if I find the address before I
Okay.
send it to you, I'll send you that address too.
Cool.
Awesome. That's how easy it can be.
Yep.
Is that too easy?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, there you go,
You
Mary.
got it.
Great.
Have a great
Take
day,
care,
Mary.
Mary.
All right, love to you.
You too. Thank
Awesome.
you. Bye-bye.
We have someone else on the line. I don't know how much time you have.
We actually need to get going.
Yeah.
We gotta show that we've got a guest that's on, so we're gonna have to.
All right, this person that's on the line right now, Annette, look, we'll be here in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks,
Okay.
we'll be right here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All
Cool.
right.
And thank you for calling in. I appreciate that. I apologize for the inconvenience.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we'll be out of here. You guys is too great. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, we can go on. You know, people don't key in to things always until like the last minute. If you saw I can't take a picture of the graft, but the graft is like to the moon.
Excellent.
I mean, I
Good.
can't believe what I'm looking at. I mean, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Well, and it's a beautiful offhanded validation that to go, well, maybe we're saying interesting things enough to where they want to listen in some way. And then, if they choose to call in.
And we're building community.
Yeah.
So lots of love to you listeners.
Yes.
There you go. And we're back here every 2 weeks. So therefore, if you don't come back here in 2 weeks, it's not our fault.
Join us. We'll be seeing you soon. Bobby, it's always good, man. Thank you, sir. And thank you for helping Mary out.
Absolutely. Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh.
That server and me are gonna really have a fight.
Oh, someone gonna get a talking to. Cool.
But meanwhile, this is some of the stuff from here. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Pyramid One World Radio and Jamie Clark and Maggie Clark, your hosts, your givers to you. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.